Okay, you guys have asked for it. I am going to talk about pseudo versus real. So, you guys have reached out to me numerous times on social media, my podcast, and said, Cameron, what's your opinion on synthetic or pseudos versus real? Here's what I can tell you. I have definitely been a user of synthetic pseudos. I did it for a number of years. I've also used the newer odor imprint items, and of course, used plenty of real. So let's start off with that. Right now in the market, detection dog teams typically use those three things, which is your real, whatever it is that your dog is trained to detect, that substance is what you're using, and it's given to you either through, let's just go bomb and drug world. DEA or ATF provides you, or sometimes a evidence lab if you're law enforcement when it comes to your narcotics. The next one is going to be the very common synthetic, pseudo. And then the other one, which is newer to the market, which is a odor absorbed item. So typically that's a Wattman paper in a disc or a get sent tube or a get sent ribbon sandwiched between something, and those materials have absorbed the chemical aspects, the odorants of that substance. Now, the odor imprint items or the odor absorbed items can be tested. It's basically a trace amount, but enough, obviously, that can be detected by a dog, no problem. But that is kind of something to be considered, is its lower volume of odor as opposed to your real, which comes in different sizes based off surface area. Now, with that said, some of these odor imprint items have increased in size, which gives you a larger volume of surface area, which means more odor availability. When it comes to synthetics, well, synthetics, let's go back in history. Started in the late 70s, early 80s with US Customs. They utilized a synthetic cocaine, and that has been used for many, 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 many years. People will bring up pseudo could get legally challenged, and that's true. It could legally get challenged. However, to this date, so far, it has not, and Customs has never been challenged by it either. So, obviously, there's the real, and real also has its problems, which is how badly is it contaminated? What other chemicals that are non-target are cut with it? Many cases, handlers have no idea what their training aid is mixed with or cut with. They're just given to them by the DEA or ATF or bought, let's say, through a explosive-based company, and they are given what they are given. So the crux of the argument that people will die on the hill the minute you go to the LEO discussion group on Facebook, which happens about every 7 to 10 days, when somebody asks the question, what should I use, synthetic or real? And man, the keyboards get fired up, the armor goes on, and it is war on that thread, and the passions run deep on both sides. Both sides have anecdotal evidence backing up their claims. Both sides, most times, lack a general understanding of chemicals and what they do. So what I will bring up is, let's go with the arguments that people will say, synthetics work. I have used them. I have trained my dog on it. When I put my dog on the real substance, it hit it no problem. So let's go into context generalization and bias. So let's just say I provided somebody a pouch that I just filled with, let's say, a baking soda with some other chemical, so it had a chemically smell to it. I told you this is synthetic cocaine. You buy it, you open the package, you do it, which, let me just add this real quick, blows me away. Law enforcement as an industry trusts like virtually nobody. But I could sell you a package that says cocaine on it, and all of you guys believe it. You guys go, well, it says cocaine on it. It must work. It must be cocaine. And again, that will get backed up through the anecdotal experience that we'll use. So bringing that full circle here is you'll get that package. It says this on it. I could have put in there whatever I wanted. You train your dog on it because you believed it's synthetic cocaine. You get the real cocaine and you go put it in a very basic search context. Maybe it's a single room. Maybe it's just a couple of boxes, whatever it is. It's basic and it's simple in its nature. But the chemical, the cocaine, the real cocaine that you put out is the only thing in that room that's new to that room or different in that room in most cases. I have yet to come across somebody who purposely, that first time, puts out other non-target things in that exact same space. So the ones that say synthetic works based on their experience took that cocaine, put it in that space, and when that dog came into that space, the dog did what's called context generalization. Said, hey, this thing is different in here. It's different than all the other things that are in here. And they show interest, or some dogs will spontaneously generalize and respond. So then that handler says, it worked. But like I said, I could have easily put in there whatever I wanted and got you to do the same thing. If we truly believe that a synthetic worked and we're trusting the dog's nose, here's how we should evaluate that. So I train my dog on whatever purchased synthetic training aid I bought. Once I've reached a point I'm happy with the dog understanding that this is a target, I then create a odor lineup. In this odor lineup will be other non-target items in there. So I might put rubber gloves, a canvas pouch, maybe some silica powder, maybe some other chemical odor, maybe cotton, whatever I wanted to in this lineup. In addition to that, I'm probably going to do 3 rounds of this. First round is, along with those items I just mentioned, would be the synthetic. So if the dog knew the synthetic from training, it will understand the synthetic in this lineup. I then do 2 subsequent rounds. The next round, or one of these 2 rounds, could either be all blank, which means none of the items in the lineup are synthetic or they're real. And then on the other one, it would be real, let's say, or vice versa. I don't care the order. I just need to see that the dog identifies the synthetic in the lineup, identifies 0, and identifies the target. Because if I believe the synthetic worked, the dog should make the generalization to the real substance. That way I know the dog made the connection between the two. Hardly anybody does that. They go off of the example I gave earlier. And then they will go around to everybody and say, it works. I know it works. I've done it. When maybe what you really just did was train an additional odor. And your dog knows synthetic odors and real odors. Here's what the scientific community will tell you. We know real substances have flaws. We know specifically with narcotics, real narcotics will have any number of various cutting agents within them. How do we get around that flaw or that problem? Introduce your dogs to other narcotics that aren't from your kit. The more sampling of the real substance with other non-target chemicals in it, but the constant chemical that you're looking for, the scheduled narcotic part of it, is present, the more examples the dog gets, the better the dog will understand, oh, this is what I'm looking for, despite these other background noises. Dr. Hall does a great video I have coming up that I'll share where he talks about context generalization and how to get the dog to understand specifically what they're looking for. It's a great example for us as humans to really understand this. Here's another thing that the chemists in this industry who work with dog handlers frequently will tell you. They all believe that synthetics will work. Right now, we are not at a time where we have synthetics that have met testing standards in a way that's reliable. And what I mean by that is when things have been tested, it's not consistent. And the example I'll give is if I gave, let's say I purchased a synthetic, turned it in for testing, somebody else purchased a synthetic, turned it also to the same laboratory for testing, another party from another part of the United States sent their synthetic in that they had just bought for testing. What the labs have seen is inconsistencies within the same product. Here's what you also need to be able to understand as a handler and as a trainer. What is in your synthetic? How does this synthetic work? And what is it about it that makes that connection for your dog? In a way, it's a basic question, but it's truly a little more difficult than that. We can't just say, oh, trust me, if my dog tells me that's what all that matters. Laboratory tests don't matter. We can't go into it with those kind of arguments. We need, if you're somebody who was, let's say, if I was a scientist and I was selling a product, I would want my industry I want my product to be independently tested and verified by others and say it works. And then I would say, here's what it is. If I have a patent, it means it's protected. I can share this with you because if you copy me, I can sue the hell out of you. So I will share with the industry, this is what's in it. This is how it works. This is why these chemicals react in this way, and it off gases and creates this. And you can go all crazy with all the scientific jargon to explain why it works. As we all know, most of us handlers don't give a crap. We just want to know it works. So I really want you guys as an industry to know, if you go down the path of what's out there currently, go into it knowing that it has been tested and we see inconsistencies across the companies that are out there. We haven't reached a point yet where we have solid, independent reviewed testing and quality control. Just like if it was a narcotic that was, if, let's say, let's use any one of the different things you see on TV the pharmaceutical companies sell. When a new pharmaceutical company comes out with a new drug, what they do is, of course, they patent that process, and nobody can create a generic of it yet. There's a period of time, like a patent, but anything that is given to us is independently tested. So if this pharmaceutical manufacturer says, hey, this drug I'm selling does this, this is how it works, and this is what's in it. Why don't we have that for synthetics? We should have that. We should want that. I should be able to know that if I go and testify or I go and deploy my dog, I at least have an understanding of what the product is that I used, what's in it, and how it works. So you guys have asked my opinion. This is my opinion. I know there will be controversies to it, but I just want you to remember the core things here. Those that frequently say it works have more than likely come at it with a contextual generalization, followed by the biased fact that they knew their substance was there and where it was at, versus a complete test that's unknown to you where the substance is in the lineup, and the dog correctly went from synthetic to real and at least showed a heavy interest in it. So fire away. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. If you would like more information about anything detection dog, go visit www.fordcanine.com.